So here's the thing about coffee that nobody really talks about. We all know that morning cup feels essential, but have you ever stopped to think about what happens when you actually quit? Not just for a day or two, but for a full 30 days? The research on this is fascinating, and honestly, some of the findings are going to surprise you. Let's start with what most people experience first, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The withdrawal is real. Research published in StatPearls shows that about 50% of people who quit coffee experience headaches, and around 13% have clinically significant distress or functional impairment. These symptoms typically start within 12 to 24 hours after your last cup and peak between 20 to 51 hours. The fun part? They can last anywhere from 2 to 9 days. Now here's what's interesting about caffeine withdrawal. It's actually recognized in the DSM-5, which is the diagnostic manual psychiatrists use. That should tell you something right there. The symptoms aren't just in your head. We're talking headaches, fatigue, decreased alertness, drowsiness, difficulty concentrating, irritability, and feeling foggy. And this happens even with low doses of caffeine. Studies show that people who only drank one small cup of coffee per day still experience withdrawal symptoms when they quit. But let's talk about why you'd want to quit in the first place, because the benefits are where things get really interesting. Let's start with your sleep, because this is huge. A systematic review analyzing 24 studies found that caffeine consumption reduced total sleep time by 45 minutes and decreased sleep efficiency by 7%. But here's what shocked me: it increased light sleep by about 6 minutes, while reducing deep sleep by over 11 minutes. That deep sleep is crucial for physical restoration and memory consolidation. And get this, even if you think you're sleeping fine, after your afternoon coffee, you're probably not. Research from Stanford shows that caffeine has a half-life of 2 to 10 hours, which means if you drink a cup at 1 p.m., you could still have enough circulating in your system at 10 p.m. to impair your sleep quality. One recent study found that to avoid reductions in total sleep time, coffee should be consumed at least 8 hours before bedtime. Most people are nowhere near that window. When you quit coffee for 30 days, people consistently report more stable energy levels. Instead of that morning spike followed by the afternoon crash, your energy becomes more consistent throughout the day. You're not riding that roller coaster anymore. One person who quit described it perfectly, saying they used to have peaks and valleys of energy throughout the day. But without caffeine, they felt much more stable, just staying in the middle all day. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention: your stress hormones. Multiple studies have shown that caffeine significantly increases cortisol secretion, which is your primary stress hormone. One study found that even after 5 days of consuming 300 milligrams of caffeine daily, people still showed elevated cortisol levels in the afternoon, even when they developed tolerance to the morning spike. This is important because chronically elevated cortisol is linked to weight gain, anxiety, depression, and weakened immune function. Research from medical students showed something fascinating. When they combined caffeine with work stress like exams, blood pressure increased more than it did with either caffeine or stress alone. The combination was additive. For people at high risk for hypertension, caffeine increased both blood pressure and cortisol during stressful tasks. So if you're dealing with a lot of stress in your life, that coffee might actually be making things worse, not better. Speaking of blood pressure, here's another benefit of quitting. Studies show that blood pressure spikes when you drink caffeine because it constricts your arteries and keeps them from staying as wide as they should for healthy blood pressure. Research indicates that caffeine consistently raises blood pressure in regular consumers, even after overnight abstinence, and this effect doesn't fully disappear with tolerance. When people quit caffeine, many experience a reduction in blood pressure, though the effect varies between individuals. Your skin might actually improve too. Caffeine slows down collagen production, which is the protein that gives your skin its tightness and elasticity. As you age, you naturally make less collagen. So if you're drinking coffee regularly, you're potentially accelerating that aging process. Cut out the caffeine, and you might notice your skin looking a bit better after a few weeks. Here's something that surprised a lot of people who quit. Their dental health improved. Coffee is one of the most damaging beverages for your teeth. According to the American Dental Association, it's acidic, it stains your enamel, and the caffeine dries out your mouth. Saliva is your prime defense against bacteria, so less saliva means higher risk of tooth decay. People who quit coffee for 30 days reported noticeably whiter teeth and overall better oral health. Please like this video if you're finding this information valuable, because honestly, the relationship most people have with caffeine is way more complicated than they realize, and more people need to understand what's actually happening in their bodies. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Does quitting caffeine mean you'll have less energy? In the short term, absolutely yes. Your body has become dependent on caffeine to block adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is what makes you feel tired, and caffeine works by blocking it. When you quit, all that adenosine that's been accumulating suddenly has nowhere to go, and you feel exhausted. This is why the first week is brutal for most people. But here's the thing. After about 2 weeks, most people report that their natural energy levels stabilize and actually improve. Your body adjusts. The constant need for caffeine to feel normal disappears. You wake up feeling more refreshed because your sleep quality has improved. Your energy throughout the day becomes more predictable and sustainable, not dependent on your next cup. There's also the mental clarity aspect. While caffeine can improve focus in the short term, it can also increase anxiety and jitteriness, especially in higher doses. Studies have shown that people consuming 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, which is about 4 cups of coffee, often experience feelings of being jittery or on edge. When you quit, that background anxiety often fades. Your mind feels calmer, more centered. One interesting finding is that caffeine might actually impair your body's ability to absorb certain nutrients. Because it's a diuretic, meaning it increases urine production, you lose more water and potentially more B vitamins and other important nutrients. When you quit caffeine, your body may actually get more benefit from the food you're eating. Now, I want to be realistic here. Not everyone has the same experience. Some people quit for 30 days and feel amazing. Others quit and feel okay, but miss the ritual and taste of coffee. A few people don't notice much difference at all. Your response depends on how much caffeine you are consuming, how long you've been consuming it, your genetics, and your overall health. If you're thinking about trying this, here's my advice based on the research. Don't quit cold turkey unless you're ready to suffer for a week. Gradually reducing your intake over a week or two will minimize withdrawal symptoms. Switch to half calf first, then quarter calf, then decaf, or just quit entirely. Drink plenty of water. Get extra sleep if you can. And be patient with yourself. Most people who make it through the 30 days say they're glad they did it, even if they eventually go back to drinking coffee. It resets their relationship with caffeine. They realize it's not essential, it's optional. They can enjoy it occasionally, rather than needing it just to function. That shift in perspective is powerful. And look, coffee isn't poison. There are legitimate health benefits to moderate coffee consumption, including potential neuroprotective effects and reduced risk of certain diseases. But there's a huge difference between enjoying a cup or two because you like it versus needing 3 or 4 cups just to get through the day, because you're trapped in a cycle of caffeine dependence and poor sleep. The bottom line is this: quitting coffee for 30 days gives your body a chance to reset. Your sleep improves, your stress hormones normalize, your energy becomes more stable, and you break the physical dependence. After 30 days, you can make an informed choice about whether you want to reintroduce it and how much you want to consume. But at least you'll know what your baseline feels like without it. The changes might shock you, not because they're dramatic overnight transformations, but because you realize just how much caffeine was affecting things you thought were just normal parts of your day. The afternoon crashes, the sleep struggles, the background anxiety. These things might not be as inevitable as you thought. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel. I'm always breaking down the latest research on health and wellness to help you make informed decisions about your body. No hype, no gimmicks, just science-based information you can actually use. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.